Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking you a
categorically,
question. Don't
Mr.
be
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can
No,
you
I'm
give
not
us a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings, this Independence Day version of Operation Freedom Briefing. The goal of these briefings in my weekly radio show is to provide you information the bought-off lamestream fake media will never present or never touch. Why? Because they actually are fighting against your independence. They're fighting against your freedoms and your liberties, your future, your life, and our constitutional republic. And what they don't want you to know, they want you to believe that you should be in fear 24/7, that you should be sitting on your couch 24/7, that you should not be engaged in not just maintaining your freedoms and liberties, but enhancing them. You see, folks, you are the key to defeating the Syndicate and defeating their freedom stripping, liberty stripping, life stripping, constitutional republic stripping agenda. For years, I have presented and have had immense blowback of my philosophy of we got them outnumbered. And each and every one of us are the key. And collectively, we can win this. And will win this. But all too many people would prefer to stay in fear, to stay on the couch, and give up their freedoms and liberties. But fortunately for us, and unfortunately for the globalist syndicate or cult or deep state or New World Order crowd or criminal international banking syndicate or shadow government, whatever you want to call them, they're all the same entity. A several thousand group of scum, and that's not being fair to pond scum, but scum, who are focused on that freedom stripping agenda. We keep drilling home that you are an integral component of this bucket brigade of truth. You've seen over the years that when you speak to your friends, your families, your loved ones, your neighbors, that would rather just sit on the couch, would rather be in fear, would rather consume the bought-off lamestream fake media propaganda that misinforms, disinforms, and essentially keeps people completely uninformed. You've seen that when you take the initiative with this bucket brigade of truth and take the facts, the data, the truth that we deliver here on this platform, that a number of others deliver in the independent media, that when you network that information, you open people's eyes, you awaken them to what's going on. Now, at first, they might not believe you. But by encouraging them to do their own research, they actually find out that the information you've been providing them is accurate, on target, ahead of the curve. And in fact, it's the winning strategy. There's a reason why, for the past 3 years, the oppressors we're so locked into people just stay at home. Lock yourself down. Don't communicate. Stay in fear. Because they see their game plan slipping away from them. Because too many people were talking and networking. And you can thank the independent media for that. You see, people that come to this channel, that come to my website, davejanda.com, where we have extra shows and extra content and extra guests and extra analysis, and I can discuss issues I cannot discuss on any social media platform or on the radio for that matter, because of the choke points of censorship in all of those systems other than what we do on the website. People have become first responders for freedom by networking. And I can't think of a better day to discuss this than on the July 4th holiday time period. It's not just me that believes that we can win this, that communicating is the key. Look at the interview. Watch the interview I did with an American hero, Captain Charlie Plum, who was shot down over North Vietnam. 5 days before he was supposed to come home permanently, he got shot down and spent 2,103 days in captivity, in torture, in hell. And what kept all of those POWs going for all those days was their unending ability in communicating, in attempting to communicate with each other. This is why censorship is such a big part of the globalist agenda. Censorship blocks communication. That's what they fear. Caitlin Johnson, great political writer, recently wrote the following. I want to share it with you because you're never going to get it or hear about it through any arm associated with the bought-off lamestream fake media. Her article is entitled, "Your Efforts Make a Difference and We Can Win This Thing." Here's what she says. We can win this thing and create a healthy, harmonious world, and the work each of us does to help bring this about makes a real difference. The more I observe and learn about human behavior, the more convinced of this I become. Every positive change in human behavior is always preceded by an expansion of consciousness, an awakening. This is true whether you're talking about positive behavioral changes in an individual or in a collective. By expansion of consciousness, I mean an increase in awareness, someone or a group of someone's becoming more aware of something than they previously were. And that's where you've come in as a first responder for freedom. Conditions don't get better until the forces which give rise to them are clearly seen and understood. The movement from the darkness of unconsciousness into the light of awareness can create the illusion that things are getting worse because they turn up so much ugliness. The dawn of the internet has turned up a tremendous amount of ugliness and cruelty that had previously gone unseen and unknown to most people. This can lead to the mistaken impression that the internet itself is making people more cruel and ugly than they previously were, but it isn't. It's just turning up humanity's long-standing inner demons that had previously functioned solely in the dark. It looks ugly, it moves in a sloppy, clumsy 2 steps forward, 1 step back shamble, but human consciousness is undeniably expanding. We're getting so much better at sharing ideas and information with each other that we've arguably changed more as a species in the last 30 years than we did in the previous 30 centuries. We might outwardly look similar to the way we looked in our grandparents' time, but billions of human brains connected to each other through the internet is something that is wildly unprecedented in the entire history of our species. Nothing like this has ever happened before. So humanity is indisputably becoming more conscious. As awkward and sloppy as our situation looks right now, we're becoming more and more aware of the problems our species faces, and our rulers are having to do more and more work to pull the wool over our eyes and keep us marching in a way that's convenient to them and their agenda, by the way. Caitlin Johnson goes on, people are becoming more and more aware of these things than they used to be because the truth about them is suddenly vastly more visible now than it previously was. And what's exciting is that we all have the ability to participate in and facilitate this expansion of consciousness. We each have the ability to help humanity become more conscious in our own small way, thereby bringing us that much closer to a positive shift in our collective behavior. Anything you can do to help make humanity a little more aware of the abusive nature of the systems which drive the problems we now face does make a difference. And this is what I've told you for years. This is why our platform has been targeted. Even if it's a difference as small as making one single person a little more aware of one more specific aspect of the tyranny we're being subjected to. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it does make a difference. And as long as it makes the slightest bit of difference, it's worth doing. Because a lot of slight differences adds up to a massive difference. And there are a whole lot of people who have the ability to do this. You. Anything you can do to help people become more aware of injustice, propaganda, and tyranny, whether in your own community and the world, makes a difference. Real change is the result of sustained efforts of many. Many people whose individual actions could never achieve much on their own. So that's what we all can do. We can all lean our shoulders into the expansion of human consciousness and shove. Spread awareness of what's going on in the world. Make people more aware we're all being deceived and manipulated at a mass scale. And help people to see that a better world is possible. The more people open their eyes to what's happening, the more shoulders there are to help join in our collective shove toward consciousness and toward freedom and toward liberty and toward not just a protection, but a restitution of our constitutional republic. I close every one of my presentations with my dad's favorite saying. Dream big and dare to fail. Not dream big and dare to win. As he taught me early in life, dreaming big is key. But if you just dare to win, you don't leave it all on the field. If you dare to fail, you'll leave it all on the field. And that is when you'll make a true difference. He didn't come up with that statement, dream big and dare to fail. Dream big and dare to fail, he utilized from an American hero who said those terms, those words, Norman Vaughn. Norman Vaughn ended up dropping out of Harvard so that he could be the lead dog musher for Admiral Byrd, as Admiral Byrd was going to conquer Antarctica, explore it, fly over it. And Norman Vaughn was on the ground as one of the leaders. And when Byrd conquered Antarctica in 1929, Norman Vaughn, I believe, was 24 at the time. Admiral Byrd said, Vaughn, without your support, with all you did with your dog mushing and your dog teams and leading the dog teams that carried all the supplies and people, and you never could have done this. So we're going to name that peak after you, Norman Vaughn. It's called Mount Vaughn from here on out. And late in his 80s, Norman Vaughn, who had very significant medical illnesses, orthopedic issues, aging in his late 80s, cardiac, pulmonary issues, decided he was going to assemble a team. And he was going to climb Mount Vaughn. Other than the support of his wife, many people said, no, you're not going to make it to Antarctica. And he almost didn't because of logistic issues, because of financial issues. But he made it there. And then they said, well, if you make it there, you'll never summit that peak. You're in your late 80s. Well, finally, 3 days before his 89th birthday, Norman Vaughn summited that peak. And when he got to the top of the summit, people looked at him and said, how did you do this? I mean, you're supposed to come back dead. Not supposed to have even gotten here. But yet, you made it up this mountain. How'd you do it? And he said, if you dream big and you dare to fail, you can accomplish anything and everything in life's road. Yeah. You see, That's a bit of history that the globalist cult does not want you to know about. Because it's about individual empowerment. It's about overcoming incredible obstacles to get to your goal. The cult doesn't want you to take what Norman Vaughn did and apply it to your own life. Because they only want to be successful, not you. They want you in fear. They want you afraid. They want you uneducated. They want you misinformed, disinformed, and completely uninformed. Because that way you're not a threat to them and their self-serving agenda. No, folks. We can learn a lot from each other. And also together, we can move mountains. Just as Norman Vaughn moved up that mountain to the summit. That's why I close every presentation I give, and have for decades, in honor of my dad, in honor of Norman Vaughn, and in honor of every person who is not a part of the globalist cult scum. Dream big. Dare to fail. You are the key in defeating the Syndicate and their freedom-stripping agenda. I thank you for joining me today. We are available 24/7 at davejanda.com. We hope you join. We hope you'll stop by. A tremendous amount of free public information. Watch that interview with Charlie Poem that's now free in public. There's also a segment I did that's free about my family's battle against the globalist cult over 4 generations' time. You will not hear that presentation anywhere else. I encourage you to go there. I also would hope that after consuming our free public information, you'll want what's really happening that I cannot go into in any detail whatsoever on any public platform or the radio. I use the contacts I've developed over 35 years to bring to you information that puts you ahead of that globalist constructed curve that ends in a brick wall. Our premium service content at davejanda.com, an email service where I send out emails on a regular basis about our content and also about important issues that I want people to be up to speed on immediately. I thank you for joining me today. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.